The following program is intended for mature audiences.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And download every episode and more at basicallyasportshow.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg,
Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
God damn it, Cardinals.
Baseball or football?
Football Cardinals.
What the football Cardinals do?
They're having such a good season. Everyone likes them. And then they just announced that for this upcoming game against the Rams, they're going to be wearing their black alternates.
They have them and they have to wear them, what, twice a year?
They don't have to wear them.
They have to.
Actually, I don't mind those jerseys for some reason. You think I would hate them, but I don't. I think they look halfway decent.
My issue is that they look like the Atlanta Falcons wearing them.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's one of it, but I don't know. To be fair to the black jerseys, it's not just that. I just hate the current Cardinals look from the neck down across all of their sets. It's just...
Yeah. They could fix that. I mean, I don't even mind, there are aspects of it I think could work. But they got to get rid of the stupid Denver Broncos styles 1996 stripes. That's the thing that's got to go.
You know, if they just had pants that had just like a simple red stripe down the side outlined in black on both sides, that would be fine.
Yeah. I mean,
it's all
yes
right.
And no. I mean, it works in kind of theory, I guess. But then you would have a classic helmet, classic pants, and then a modern jersey.
Well, no, you get rid of the crazy stuff on the jersey. It's got like piping, and doesn't it have side panels too? I don't remember now. Yeah.
But at that point, you just redesign the whole thing.
Yeah. Basically.
That's basically what you're saying.
Well, yeah.
Okay,
you're not saying, just keep this. No, you're saying, nah, just do the whole thing.
Here's what I would do to fix their uniforms without completely redesigning them. I just use their practice jerseys. Basically, Tennessee Titans jerseys in red and white. Obviously, the red one wouldn't have the panels, so it would be just more traditional at home. But, yeah, each team, basically just red and white Titans jerseys with their proprietary not block number font. Then just do, pretty simple pant stripes. What I
wouldn't be against, to be perfectly honest? If the NFL went to a European soccer idea for their jerseys. What I mean by that is basically every year or every other year, teams come out with a new uniform. Because there's certain teams that just they can't get it right, so why not just give them multiple attempts at it?
The problem with that, though, is that eventually one team gets it right and they look awesome, and then it's gone in a year because...
Right. I think the Cardinals, they've got the potential. Well, I'd like just to have them go back to their mid-'90s look with the...
I'd have them go back to the mid-'90s look, but use the updated logo.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep the updated logo, but just stick that on the old uniforms. I
love the old uniforms. The one with the Arizona flag patch.
I like that.
I do too.
The blue stripes that don't.
No, not the blue stripes. Anything. The black one.
The one I really liked was I don't remember what era they wore it in, but it had it was just the plain cardinal red jersey, and they had these. It was kind of an intricate pant stripe, and that was it, and the helmet, and they looked great. And then the white jerseys I think the white jerseys actually had sleeve stripes. That was a really cool look for them. I don't know who thought when they saw this come across the table and said, this is better than what we're wearing right now.
But that's not the main point that goes into any uniform decision, though.
Okay.
If it was simply, this looks better, that wouldn't be the case. It's,
okay.
Well, these are dated and we need to sell some more jerseys. Let's make something modern.
Yeah.
Here's the ideal Cardinals uniform. That is home.
Yep, that's the pant stripe I'm talking about right there.
And then for the road, whites.
Okay, the red jerseys?
I'm down on the red pants, but I can live with them.
I can't know. The red jerseys, those are nothing. Those are nothing jerseys.
Those are awesome.
Right. They're red with numbers.
Why does a jersey have to have a bunch of stuff on it? What's wrong with just a red jersey with white numbers?
Because it's boring.
The Raiders?
Okay. Yeah, the Raiders, come on.
Okay, but the Raiders, that's what the Raiders have always looked like, though.
Well, that's what the Cardinals used to always look like.
If the Cardinals had never changed and that's what they always wore, fine. But you can't go back to that now.
Why not?
For a modern jersey, no.
Well, you can, and I think they should, and they will. And they'll do it just to make you mad.
No, not everyone's going to wear just one color in white stripes, Greg.
Yes, that's exactly what needs to happen.
Like you want in the world. like with my soon-to-be beloved LA Rams.
That's a rare exception. The Rams. That's a rare exception to the. I like that look. It's clean and simple.
Clean.
Okay, what about
clean and boring? It's a fine line. Too.
Okay, Zach. What do you think about this as a Cardinals uniform?
Oh, Jim Hart era. Yeah, now we're cooking. Yeah, I like that one a lot too. That's great.
Fine.
Yeah.
So if they went back to that, and the red version was basically just this with the red and white inverted,
yeah, it's a pro version of Ohio State is essentially what it is.
Would that be acceptable and be on the traditional side, the boring traditional divide?
Yeah, I could live with that.
Yeah, see, just take that uniform and just put the current updated logo on the helmet, and that's all you need to do.
Is this the St. Louis version of the Cardinals?
Yes. It is. They added the original Arizona.
Well, because how would anyone know that they had moved if they didn't put a flag patch on?
See, I kind of like the flag patch though. Like it doesn't match. It doesn't match, but it's cool.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's a flag. It doesn't have to match. It should.
We rail on the flag patches of the Calgary Flames.
My problem with the Calgary Flames is that they've got the Canadian and Alberta flags, but they're neither the lone Canadian team nor the lone Alberta team. If they were the only team in Alberta, all right, fine, you can use the Alberta flag. But the Oilers exist, and there's no other team in Arizona. So the Cardinals claiming the flag didn't bother me.
The Rattlers have a proud tradition in the AFL.
Plus, the flag let the Cardinals have the best ever end zones in the NFL for one season.
What was the name of the USFL team in Arizona? What were they?
There's a USFL team there?
The Wranglers.
Was that the Wranglers? Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody wanted to play summer football in Arizona?
Yeah.
Was it outside?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah,
Do you remember where they played?
ASU, Tempe.
Hold on, the Arizona Wranglers, they had an all right look.
Yeah, and they played at Sun Devil Stadium.
Yeah.
God, that must have been awful.
I think they played at night most of the time.
That doesn't make a big difference.
I thought without the humidity, it's not as bad. I thought at night because the sun goes down and it's not 140 degrees anymore.
No, it's just 102 and it's fine.
Yeah, it's just 100.
It's a dry heat.
Honestly, the best look in the USFL, I still think, was the Tampa Bay Bandits.
If I had to pick a best, I'd probably go with either the Michigan Panthers.
There's also the Jacksonville Bulls who had a really cool one.
The Bulls had a good look. I like the Oakland Invaders. The Boston, New Orleans, Seattle, Portland, Fort Worth, wherever they all ended up at, Breakers had a pretty cool look going too. Remember them?
No, I don't, because I was born in 1987, so I don't remember them.
Well, they were called the Breakers. They started in Boston, moved to New Orleans, and ended in Portland, I think. I can't remember exactly
Yeah, but they were always on the coast, so they could always just be the Breaker.
The Washington Federals had a nice color scheme. They couldn't really put together a good uniform with it, but they went with the black, green, and white, and it looked pretty cool.
For the longest time, I suggested that the Redskins should just dump their identity and just become the Washington Federals.
That'd be cool.
The more I think about it, Greg, the more I actually like your idea. Just keep everything about them, everything about the Redskins intact, like logo, color scheme, but just change the name to the Americans.
Well, yeah, that was Keith Olbermann came up with that, actually. But yeah, it's easy. You know? I was going to say change their name to the Washington Nationals, but we already have one of those. Mike, are you on board with your Blue Jays yet?
I'm excited. Yeah, I got legitimately excited watching all that go down.
Are you a believer now? Do you believe in your team yet?
I do believe in my team.
Okay.
And not only that, but there's still more to play for. They're still ahead of the Royals.
Right.
So and the season's coming to a close, so if they can just rattle off another win or two, they've got the top seed in the AL.
Look out. Did you expect that going into the season? I don't think anyone did.
No, I don't. No one did.
It's one of the rare cases where a mid-season trade, a deadline deal, actually had the desired effect.
No, David Price has been amazing for him.
Yeah, and Tulowitzki, is he still hurt or is he back in now?
He's recovering. I think
he'll be back by the playoffs, he said.
Yeah, he'll be back for the playoffs, which will be big for him.
But yeah, I just, Mike's.
Not that they needed somebody else to hit home runs for that team.
Oh my God, they are so much fun to watch, though. Come on.
They really are.
Yeah.
They're just fun baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Like more fun than you should rightfully have watching a baseball team, probably.
I hate to rain on the parade, but I said it on the boards, and I want to say it here just so that I have a record of it. But the Chicago Cubs are going to win the World Series this year. You heard it here first.
No, the Blue Jays will beat them.
I hope so, but
the Blue Jays will beat the Cubs, and it will be the most heart-wrenching thing you've ever seen.
Well, that could be too.
Well, see, that's the thing, Mike. Is I've always talked about this for years with my baseball fan friends. What if you were the team that played against the Chicago Cubs in the World Series? And it's like, yeah, you want your team to win, obviously, but the Cubs, right? The longest streak in Major League Baseball.
I would have no problem with it.
I'd insist, if the Blue Jays beat the Cubs, I want Andy on the show, on the very next show, and I want to talk to Andy about the World Series.
That's just mean. That's just mean. You're just torturing the poor guy at that point. But if it were my team, I would have no problem with it. It's like, hey, you know what? I mean, come on. Are you telling me if it was Angels Cubs, you wouldn't want the Angels to win?
Well, I'd want the Angels to win, but at the end of it, I'd be like, Cubs, sorry. I guess you're gonna have to wait another 50 years.
But I was just happy when the Jays clinched the AL East because, that means that they wouldn't. I didn't have to worry about that stupid wild card because that's basically a coin flip.
Yep. Anybody can beat anybody in one game, so you avoided that. And I just want to say, too, I think we all said the Mets would be good this year. National League East champions.
We said that they'd be wild card contenders.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I think we got that one right, I'm going to say.
Right. You guys did.
Again,
I didn't believe
contenders. I think we greatly overestimated what the hell is happening with the Washington Nationals.
It's just a bad team. They just the window closed, man. I think when they lost that series to St. Louis, it just changed.
St. Louis put the dagger in the heart of another one. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
You get Harper and Papelbon.
Yeah.
Things just not going. I mean, this was like the day after they lit up an inside the park grand slam.
How does that even happen?
You gotta screw up pretty bad.
It was like a shallow fly ball to center field. The center fielder dove, missed. The ball rolled behind him, and everybody's running. And just nobody came to back him up.
And then everyone else on the field, and then the two other outfielders for the Nationals ran to get the ball, and they just ran into each other and fell down. Then it was just complete pandemonium.
Speaking of that, did you guys see that collision that the Cardinals had a couple nights ago when they were playing the Pirates? I don't know if
they collided the right way.
Not this time. I honest to God thought the other guy was dead. I really did.
Oh, he looked out.
I mean, he was just out, flat, like laying on the ground, not moving at all. I'm like, he's dead. That's it. He broke his neck and he's dead. And finally he raised his arm. I'm like, holy hell. I was convinced the guy was dead. That was just that nasty of a collision.
But, I mean, we're talking about the Cardinals. And
but, just to finish that off, Mike, but the other Cardinal did make the catch and get the out. So I guess they did do it the right way.
But, we're talking about the Cardinals. I don't even know if we're talking about, the Jays or the Cubs, because it's going to be Yankees-Cardinals in the World Series. That's what's going to happen.
Somehow the Cardinals, with all their injuries and all their mats, won the division, won 100 games.
Yeah. This is the best season they've had in a while.
When I understood they were going to win the division, but then they're like, oh, yeah, yesterday there was their 100th win. I was really kind of taken aback by that this version of the Cardinals won 100 damn games.
That's you get enough guys named Matt and a couple quadruple Jesuses, and you're tough to beat, man.
And the other thing now is that they get Adam Wainwright to come out of the bullpen.
Oh.
Great. Their starters have been fine all year, but let's throw a Cy Young winner into the bullpen just if we need some help.
Yeah, this is like the best season they've had. I don't remember the last time they won 100 games. It's been a while, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so now...
Yeah. And the worst part is, the Pirates, 96 wins, could get to 100. The Cubs, 94 wins. Those are good seasons.
Those are great seasons, really.
Those are division-winning... Those win totals would be first place in every other division in baseball.
Yep.
But they're the two wild card teams in the Central.
Yep. And
one of them has to go home.
Well, because, the argument usually is that if you can win, say, 88, 89 games, it'll get you a wild card spot. And that's usually true, but the National League Central right now, 3 teams with 90-plus wins. That doesn't even seem fair.
Yeah.
Because we're going to lose one right out of the gate.
Then
Both
the
of
other
them are
two teams
losing.
have 90-plus losses.
But both of them are going home because both of one of them will be gone after the wild card game. The other one will play the Cardinals, and the Cardinals will just destroy them because, of course, they will.
That really does suck. Like, we could have the two of the 3 fun teams in the National League knocked out within the first round.
Yep, absolutely.
Because one of them goes home after a 1-game playoff, and the other one goes up against Satan's greatest monsters.
Like, what if? Could you imagine? Like, not even if the Jays beat the Cubs in the World Series. Can you imagine if the Cubs went into St. Louis and got swept?
Oh,
that'd be the worst.
Yeah.
That would be the worst.
Yeah.
I you know what though? I really believe it. The Cubs have that look. They just have like the Giants had the look last year, where you just look at it and you go, "This."
By the way,
they're going to
Giants were eliminated. Giants were eliminated in an odd-numbered year. Just saying.
Yeah, well, no surprise there.
No, it happens.
But I do. I think they're going to win the World Series this year. I think it's going to be. I shouldn't say we, but people have always said they're going to do it when nobody expects it, and I don't think anybody expects it this year. And I was watching them one day and I said, you know what? That's the team right there. They're going to get red hot in the playoffs, and that's what's his name, Arrieta, is going to be like the guy that, like the Madison Bumgarner last year, that he's going to be the guy, and they're going to ride him all the way to the title.
Well, the thing that's nice for the Cubs, too, is they can throw Arrieta out in that wild card game.
Yep.
And then if they win, they can start the very next series, with John Lester, who's started many a series and onto world titles for the Red Sox.
Right.
So it's a pretty good situation, at least starting pitching-wise for the Cubbies.
But I think this is the year they do it. I just wanted to predict it where I would have a verifiable record that said I did it. So there you go.
Also, National League, all the playoff spots are solidified. By the way, the only thing that's up for grabs is maybe the Cubs can win out and host
home field for the
get home field for the wild card.
Yeah.
And then the Dodgers and Mets are both tied. I think the Mets have the tiebreaker for home field right now, though. Other than that, everybody's in the National League. In
the AL though, we've still got a very interesting, 2 interesting races actually, because we've got the West Crown and then the wild card is still
right, but
grabs.
It's all really between 3 Western teams. Minnesota's hanging around in there, but I think they're going to be on the outside of this whole thing. Because here's the interesting thing now. So the Angels go into Texas for a 4-game series.
This is huge. They've got to win out.
And the Angels are 3 games behind Texas. And they're a half game behind Houston for the second wild card. In theory, the Yankees could fall out as well, because they're just 3 games ahead of the Angels. I think.
And guess
2.5.
Yes, guess who the Yankees finished the season with? The Boston Red Sox. Do you think the Red Sox wouldn't like anything better than to knock the Yankees out of playoff contention?
Right, but that would mean the Red Sox would have to sweep the Yankees.
I don't think that's impossible, but
it's not impossible. But it'd be difficult. I think. If they're starting today, it looks like that's a 4-game series, too.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. And then Houston gets Arizona for 3 games. Houston's making it in. Because the thing that sucks for the Angels is if they don't win 3 out of 4, or no, I guess they would have to win all 4 games. Because if they only win 3 out of 4 against Texas, then they would only gain 2 games in the standings. So they'd still be a game behind Texas.
Right.
And assuming Houston wins at least 2 out of 3 from Arizona, would that make them tied?
I don't know. I tell you, I know Houston's got Arizona, but they have not been good in September. They finally put together. They're 6-4 in their last 10, but they had a stretch there where it was just wow. They fell right through the floor for a little while there.
If Houston went 2-1 against Arizona, that would make them at 86. That would make them tied. There'd be a 1-game playoff for the 1-game playoff.
Which just shows how absurd the 1-game playoff is.
Right.
So and then of course if the Angels only get 2 and Houston gets 1 out of 2, then you have the same thing.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, I'm a Pirates fan, and it sucks because like last year, it's a coin flip. They've got to win 1 game to have the chance to go on and get beat by St. Louis again. It's just, I don't know. It just doesn't seem right. While the other teams sit back and don't do anything. I don't know. But at least, hey, you know what, though? It's a pretty good field for the most part.
Yeah, there's a lot of new blood. You get the Blue Jays. Kansas City is now 2 years in a row, but Kansas City's not exactly new blood. Texas, you didn't think was going to be there. Houston's hanging around. Then you get the Mets and the Cubs and the Pirates. And
the thing that really makes the thing.
So that's fun.
The teams that worry me, the Cardinals and the Yankees are still in, and I have a feeling it's going to be those two.
No, the Yankees don't have it, man. The Yankees just don't have it this year.
Yeah, you got to remember, Mike. The Yankees they got to play a big chunk of their games against the American League East, and let's see here, they got to play.
Boston.
They play Boston, Baltimore,
Tampa.
Baltimore. 18 games each?
Yeah, 18 or 19 games each. Yeah, that's a good part of their schedule. Now, I don't know what their record is against that, but I guarantee if you go look at them against the rest of the league, they're probably not as good. But I don't know. I mean, anything can happen, but the key with your Blue Jays is that Price has to keep throwing well and they have to keep hitting. If they do that, they're going to be real tough to beat. And then the Royals, I really got them right. I said they wouldn't even make the playoffs this year.
Yeah. And, I mean, the thing with Toronto, if Toronto would get the wild card winner right now, so they get either Houston or the Yankees.
Right.
And Houston's fading. And they've done damn well against the Yankees this year, right?
They have, yes.
So they'll be okay, I think. And even if they play the Angels, I know the Angels historically are not all that good in Toronto.
The thing that worries me is going up against Texas, because Texas is on a roll.
Texas can mash it, too.
Yeah.
They kind of came out. I mean, I don't think any of us picked them to do anything this year.
No.
Yeah.
No. And for the most part, they were just kind of hanging behind Houston and the Angels all year.
They made that deal for Cole Hamels, right?
Yeah. And when they did that, I think everybody kind of said, what are they doing? They're not in contention.
I remember I even said this is a trade for next year. Like, this isn't something they're thinking about this year. They're worried about next year to rebuild, and all of a sudden, here they are.
It's not true at all.
Yeah.
Not now. Just came out of nowhere. Now they're solidly on top. They just got the Angels in their way. 4-game set with the Angels in Arlington. See how that plays out.
Yeah. I see, that's the thing. I mean, based on previous performance, the Angels have kind of not done the job against the Rangers when it counted, like the past few years. So. No,
and even my thing with the Angels too, even if they were somehow pulled this miracle out of their ass and made it into the playoffs, I don't see what would be like the magic spark that sends this team to a World Series.
Oh, that's not going to happen. I can tell you.
They don't. I mean,
thanks for wasting Mike Trout.
Playoff series. Well, that's it. In the 2 years that the Angels made the playoffs with Mike Trout, he hasn't really shown up.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, so maybe he is Mike Trout of regular seasons in the playoffs, and that can spark him forward. But I think that would be the only thing, because the pitching isn't there.
No.
The bullpen is okay. The supporting cast is
Well, honestly, they're in it because the American League West it's okay, but it's not that great.
Right.
You know, and that's why. I mean, 84 wins or 83 wins at this point, you probably should be out of it, but they're still hanging in there.
Well, and really, you look at the rest of the American League as a whole, outside of the teams that we just talked about that are either in a playoff spot or fighting for it, the rest of the American League is kind of garbage.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, you get the bottom of the AL East, you get Detroit, Chicago, Cleveland has been, I guess, middle of the road as much as they could be. They're almost 500. And then Seattle and Oakland are bad.
Yep.
So there's no middle in the AL. There's the top and the bottom.
Yeah.
Whereas in the National League, there's a lot of competition. But even with all that competition, the good teams are good.
Yeah. So. I don't know, though, man. You know, I've watched this Cardinals team. I don't see a team that would win 100 games. It just makes no sense to me.
But they have.
Yeah.
But they
it's
have.
Really strange.
Yeah. Well, like I said, they collided in the outfield and almost killed a guy and still made the catch. That's the Cardinals in a nutshell. Anyway.
I guess we can save our postseason previews for next week.
Once all of this is locked up.
Yeah, it'll all be, because the games end on Sunday. It'll all be locked up. The wild card games will probably be played by the time that we talk next. So, yeah. Baseball.
Yeah. At least we got a lot of new teams this year. I'm glad. I'm really happy about that. I mean, other than
the Cardinals.
The Dodgers, I don't really mind. That's fine. The Mets, I'm really happy to see. Pirates, Cubs,
I don't like this Dodgers team, by the way.
I don't watch them enough to know whether I like them or not.
Also, interesting MLB postseason tidbit. Now that the Jays have made the playoffs, the longest playoff drought in Major League Baseball now goes to the Seattle Mariners, who haven't made it.
That's a team that's in desperate need of a jump start.
I Everything about that team seems tired. Like, even, like, I know people like to call their uniforms, like, a modern classic, but...
And they're really nice.
They're really nice, but maybe it's time to just give the whole franchise, like, another facelift. Like,
They do seem dated now.
Like, just make just, like, redo everything.
Yeah, it could be the worst idea. They got a great ballpark, but a lot of people were talking about them being a contender for the playoffs this year, and it just didn't happen again.
They had a decent year last year, and people thought that they could get over the hump, and it just didn't
And it's
pan
like,
out.
Felix Hernandez is always good.
Right.
Nelson Cruz has actually had a pretty sneaky good year for him this year.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
And Robinson Cano was fine last year, but the rest of the team just isn't there.
No.
They don't have a whole lot when it comes to starting pitching, and the depth, all around the field, especially at the bat, isn't there. So,
well, I'm just pretty happy. I've got, I think, like 5 or 6 favorite teams in here, so I'm in good shape.
yeah, because realistically, like, I bought a Blue Jays hat. I'm all in on the Blue Jays. But I wouldn't be mad if the Royals won.
Nope.
I wouldn't be all that mad if Houston won. It'd just be like, they came out of nowhere. I think they're losing steam, though. I don't think they have enough.
Yeah, I think the youth caught up with them in September. Yeah. Because you got to remember, a lot of these guys have never played into September before because they're all minor leaguers before this.
The Mets I'd be okay with. The Pirates, the Cubs I'd be okay with. Really? It's just St. Louis, the Dodgers.
And the Yankees.
And the Yankees. And Texas.
Yeah, no deal on Texas either, sorry.
Honestly, obviously I want the Jays to win. It's weird. I'm in this position where even 5 years ago, I would have told you that the Jays winning the AL East would be impossible because you couldn't compete with Boston, Tampa, or New York.
And then Baltimore came up for a minute too.
So I'm just over the moon that the Jays not only made the playoffs but won the division. Yeah. But I'm sort of in this position where it's like, right now, anything more than this is just gravy, but I kind of want them to go all the way. Like, I just want to push it, see how far it can go.
Well, the other thing is you don't know how long this will last.
Yeah.
Like, they could go into next year, and all of a sudden the Yankees are better, and Boston's better, and Baltimore is better. And
next year, I'm not.
All
next
those
year,
teams can be better next year.
Year, the Giants are going to win it, so it's
pretty much, yeah.
This year, I just want to see them get as far as this team can possibly go. But all in all, in terms of all the teams that have made the playoffs that are still in contention, the only two I don't want to see are the Yankees or the Cardinals. I'm fine with anyone else. Anyone else, I'm perfectly okay with. It's just not the Yankees or the Cardinals. Screw both of them.
I'm with you there. The only other one I'd really not be too crazy about is Texas. I
don't have a problem with Texas because they're not rivals in the way that they would be with the Angels.
No, I don't. It's just because I've just never liked them. They're kind of like Boston, except to a far lesser extent. But it's a team I can't get behind.
I like I don't dislike the Rangers. I kind of like them. I kind of feel bad for them because they were literally one strike away from winning the World Series, and then the Cardinals cardinaled hard.
That was probably the hardest the Cardinals have ever cardinaled.
They cardinaled so hard, and then
that was brutal. Jeez, I mean, you talk about teams that have had heartbreak before. But my God. And
I was just watching that, and I've never been a Texas Rangers fan, but I was sort of like, oh, I feel sorry for you guys, and
I think the reason
I hope you get your win at some point.
I think the reason that I'm not. Actually, I don't dislike them, but I'm just not interested in them is because it seemed like every time I went to an Indians game, it was always against the Rangers, and I'm just sick of them. I keep all my ticket stubs. I guarantee if you went through it, 40% of those tickets are Texas Rangers.
The only thing about me that bugs them is you just put Rangers on the home jerseys.
They're the Texases.
Like Texas Tech, we get it. You play in Texas. You have the Texas state flag as a patch. We don't need the home jerseys to say Texas. Just stop being so stereotypically Texas and put Rangers on it, and it'll be fine.
So I guess we can start. What was this? 2 weeks ago now.
Law and Order. Then you hear like the bah, then the title card says like
bum bum.
2 weeks ago.
We were just kind of going along with this stuff, and it was announced that the grand jury was being delayed with Patrick Kane. So we thought, oh well, then he's going to get. They're going to work out a settlement. Mm-hmm. A couple days later, they say no settlement. We're just going to go forward with a thing. So we said, oh, okay, fine. business as usual, I guess. Then the attorney for Patrick Kane announces that – was it the attorney or the police department announced that the rape kit came back and there were no traces of Kane's DNA inside the girl or in her undergarments.
I think it was the police chief. I want to say it was the police chief, but so many – like 3 different people came out to give press conferences on this goddamn rape kit over the course of like 24 hours that I completely lost track.
So one of the days it's announced that Kane's DNA is not found inside the girl or in her undergarments. And so it looks like, well, I guess Kane could still be charged with sexual assault, but not rape. But then the very next day, the accuser's attorney says that a ripped open evidence bag of the rape kit was found on the accuser's mother's doorstep. And so it's all like batshit insane. What happened? Wait a
minute. The actual rape kit found its way out of the police evidence or of the bag, I mean?
Well, this is what the story was at the time. That the bag that contained the rape kit was ripped, a ripped open bag that supposedly had the rape kit in it was found on the mother's doorstep.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So the bag itself managed to find its way from wherever the rape kit was, evidence locker, to her front step.
Yes,
that is batshit crazy.
But and so the attorney does this big press conference and shows everyone the bag. Accidentally says the victim's name a couple times. Jesus. And, of course, that went well on social media, as you could imagine. But later that day, the Erie County Police Department says, no, we have the rape kit, and it's in the bag, and it's the original bag, and it's sealed, so that's not what you think it is. And so the attorney eventually, figures out that this was it was basically a hoax put on by the mother. By the accuser's mother.
God.
So I think it was the next day the accuser's attorney recuses himself from the case. And as far as legal proceedings go, things are on hold because nobody knows what's going on with what. All in the meantime, Patrick Kane is invited to Blackhawks training camp. And instead of the Blackhawks I guess trying to protect him in some way, they decide that they're going to have a press conference and they're going to put him in it. And instead of just having him make a statement and say, no questions on it, they make him go through questions, and it's a bunch of things like they ask him about it. He says, I appreciate your question, but I can't make any comments on it until the legal process plays out. And, of course, people just keep asking question after question about it, and he's not answering anything because he can't and shouldn't. He shouldn't be having this press conference in the first place.
No.
Is this the I'm not tone deaf press conference?
Right. And so
a thing that a tone deaf person says?
Yeah. They go through all this stuff. They're talking about how great it was to win the Stanley Cup, all while somebody that's under investigation for rape is sitting at the stupid dais. And so eventually he and the players leave, and they ask the Blackhawks president, John McDonough, doesn't this seem a little tone deaf to you, all this? And he's like, I can assure you that I'm not tone deaf.
Not much.
And so Patrick Kane, of course, every time he steps on the ice has been greeted by rousing applause.
By the dumpster people in Chicago.
Yeah, and there's a whole lot of other Chicago-specific stuff regarding the media and radio personalities and all this kind of drama within the city that I'm not really understanding. I'm just kind of getting secondhand from...
We need to bring Andy on for that.
But basically the Patrick Kane thing went from, this looks bad for the league to, oh my God, when does the movie come out?
Well, I'm just concerned that now that the girl's name's out there.
Well, so you got – I had to log out for a brief moment. So you got to the part where the girl's attorney accidentally leaked her name on national television?
Yeah.
Right.
And
so
I'm picturing –
Twitter went to war.
Right. I'm just picturing all these less than – perfect Blackhawks fans, the kind of people that every fan base has. I don't want anybody thinking picking on Chicago.
Yeah, you whore.
Right, exactly. Just going at, oh my God.
You wanted it.
Yep. Oh my goodness, that's just not good at all.
Yes.
This thing couldn't have botched this any worse, could they?
No, I mean, between the actual investigation itself, the accuser's attorney, the accuser's mother, And then, of course, the other part I left out was the accuser's father.
Oh, yes!
Changed his Facebook photo to one of him wearing a Raiders hat and holding a very large knife with a caption that said, if something, justice comes around, or something like that.
Oh, boy.
He's since changed his Facebook profile picture, I guess. But,
I imagine he's going to be at, like, the Blackhawks home opener in the rafters with a sniper rifle as he's just humming God's Gonna Hunt You Down by Johnny Cash.
And so between the investigation and the attorneys and the accuser's family and the Blackhawks public relations handling of this whole thing, it's just a bigger mess than we ever thought it could have been.
Wow. Putting him out there for the press conference was about the dumbest thing you could do.
Yeah, if you're going to do anything with him, you put him out there, you have him make a statement, and then you send him away.
No, you don't put him out there, period. You come out yourself and you make a statement saying, look, Patrick Kane, you all know the situation. We feel it's best that he not talk because of this, that, blah, blah, blah. And
I'm
that's
saying
the end of it.
If they're going to bring him out at all, that's what you do. He makes a statement, he goes away.
Right.
But the smart thing would be to not have him out there at all. And sure, the Blackhawks will get flack for it, but
not
at least
like this.
Right. You wouldn't look like morons.
Yeah,
like they looked.
Yeah, this looks really, really bad. Really bad. The whole thing is just a disaster. And we still don't know if he's going to be charged or not, right?
Did you mention, Zach, the lawyer who showed up wearing his gym clothes to a press conference?
Oh, right, and this is Patrick Kane's lawyer. He's holding these press conferences where he shows up in his gym clothes. He does another one in his office where clearly on his bookcase in the back is a Hustler magazine 40th anniversary coffee mug.
You've got to be kidding me.
No. No, I'm not kidding you, Greg.
Seriously?
Yes.
And apparently, according to Admiral, this guy's Chicago accent was nearly flawless.
Yeah, apparently he's actually good friends with Larry Flint.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
No, well, I think it was already decided that Jim Belushi would play him in the movie.
Yeah. No, it's only a matter of time. I read somewhere else where this is a Lifetime movie waiting to happen.
Yeah.
I'm sure on the very next season of Law & Order SVU, this will be one of the ripped from the headlines episodes that they do.
SVU, entitled Douchebag Unit.
Yeah, it's just like whenever you take a step back from it, it's like I don't know what my opinion on this thing is, or what I think is going to happen, or what I think is going to happen to Kane, or what the league should do, because every time you think about it, something new happens, or somebody else counters with the other craziness that's happened, and it's just there's nothing to say about it than just, oh my God, what a mess.
Yeah, you really can't add. I mean, what could you possibly add to it? I don't know though. I would think that the Hustler thing sounds like something you would make up and add to it.
No,
and oh my
it's
God,
amazing.
I mean, of all the things,
it's just all the stuff you could not write. You could not write this.
Wow.
Oh, and the rape kit's in a goddamn paper bag.
Well, that's how evidence is generally handled.
Yeah, I know, but it still looks cheap.
Right. Well, these things are put in hardcore plastic bags and then put into the paper bags because the paper bags are sturdier to carry, I guess. I don't know.
Wow, I just don't even know what to say about this. It's just
no. It's just, and the thing is, the NHL would probably love to make a move on this somehow because, of course, the season is only 8 days away.
Yeah,
less than that, or 6 days away. I think it starts this upcoming Wednesday.
That's Leafs Habs, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's also Blackhawks Rangers.
Is it in Chicago?
Yeah, man.
Oh. Got to be the NBC game, right?
It is.
Oh, of course.
It's banner raising night.
Oh.
I want to hear Doc Emmerich's opinion on all of this.
Oh my! But you know they're going to gloss right over it. They might mention and Patrick Kane, who's been in some hot water.
That's some legal issues or something along those lines, right?
Right, and then they'll skip over it because the NHL will, I'm sure, tell them you can't discuss this.
Well, I don't think that, I mean, honestly, in fairness, I don't think that a game is the place to discuss it.
No.
I mean, you don't want to act like it didn't happen, but I also don't want to watch a hockey game, especially if I'm not interested if I'm not, I mean, I don't want to say I'm not interested in it, but I don't want to watch a hockey game and be bombarded with shit that I can get on the news elsewhere.
I think
this is my point.
if any place they're going to discuss it during one of the pregame shows or during an intermission.
That's a more appropriate place for it, I think.
But during the actual game broadcast, I'm sure it won't be mentioned at all.
Yeah.
Or maybe in passing once. But
like I said, like he's got legal troubles. You've all heard about it. Blah blah blah. Whatever.
And we've all heard Doc Emmerich call a game, and he's pretty old school in that sense, where he'll probably he'll gloss over it more than anybody else would. But yeah,
I want to hear Don Cherry's opinion on it.
Don Cherry. Oh yeah, Patrick Kane, good old practically Canadian boy from Buffalo. I shouldn't be touching a girl, Patrick. What are you doing?
Oh my God.
Something like that. Anyway, so but yeah, the NHL season right around the corner, ladies and gents.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Mike just sent me a picture of this lawyer.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yep, there's the guy. That's him.
Oh, man. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
All this aside, take everything else away from this, he still shouldn't have that mug on his shelf. He's a lawyer, for God's sakes. Oh, my God.
Maybe he represented Larry Flynn at some point.
And man, what the hell is all over his chair?
What do you mean what's over his chair?
It's just faded and worn.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
He's obviously had that chair for quite a while.
I thought maybe it was just like the scum that was on him was kind of rubbing off on the chair or something along those lines.
Oh, and right next to it is, of course, Money Soap. just wants to wash himself with money.
This guy, like I said, I would have never believed this hustler thing if I didn't see it with my own eyes. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's something.
But speaking of Doc Emmerich, Emmerich actually provides the play-by-play in NHL 16.
Yes, he did in NHL 15 as well.
Yes, but now we've got live-action Doc Emmerich. So.
Oh yeah, well no, they had that in 15 also.
Did they?
Yeah.
I did not play enough.
Yeah, they taped him and Eddie Olczyk doing these generic intros.
Yeah, and then they just green screen the arenas behind them.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Oh my goodness.
But either way,
should we move on and talk about the actual hockey season?
Yeah, we can talk about the actual hockey
we can.
season.
All right, let's get out of this because this is just I don't like being here.
It's
what are you going to do?
This is amazing.
No place for a good Midwestern boy with Midwestern sensibilities to be.
This is...
but before we get away from the NHL's legal troubles, remember Slava Voinov and the Kings?
Yeah.
Well, the Kings were, according to their statement, they were going to terminate Slava's contract, but he decided to self-deport himself back to Russia.
Which means that they retain his rights should he ever decide to come back.
What, he self-deported himself?
Yes.
So what did he say? Like, I deport myself before he got on the plane?
He basically just moved back to Russia.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going back to Russia for a long time.
I deport myself.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's that carries the full weight of the law. Sure. All right. So I want to get back to a place I'm more comfortable with. Let's talk about the actual.
Well, I want
game
to start.
Of hockey.
I want to start, and this isn't directly involved in the game, but it's a nice segue from our last topic of conversation to the actual games. Let's talk about how the Toronto Maple Leafs are apparently too strapped for cash to
they're not strapped for cash. This is a Lou Lamoriello special, ladies and gentlemen.
He kicked the team's play-by-play and color commentator off of the team's charter flight. Yeah. And insisted that they call the game from the studio in Toronto.
Yeah, Lou Lamoriello kicked the Maple Leafs radio broadcast crew off the charter that was going to be flying away.
Did he say why?
To save money.
Right. Because apparently the cost for the two guys to travel on their own when the Leafs are on the road is in excess of $200,000.
And the team is worth $1.3 billion, by the way, just to put that in perspective.
the two guys are going to call the radio games from a studio in Toronto.
Are you serious?
Yeah. No, didn't MLSE step in and overrule Lou on that?
I haven't. I'm reading an article. It may not have been updated, but
that is ridiculous. Because first, I don't know how it is in Canada, but here, the announcers are essentially employees of the team.
Yes,
they are. They're still employees of the team.
Wow.
But this is also something that Lou did when he was in New Jersey, so it has precedent.
But what Lou needs to understand is that the Toronto Maple Leafs are owned by two broadcasting conglomerates and are worth $1.3 billion as a team, not to mention the billions upon billions behind them in the form of their corporate overlords.
This would be different if it was like the Arizona Coyotes won't be sending their broadcasters on the road or something.
Or the Fort Wayne Comets.
Or, some minor league team. But for the Toronto Maple Leafs, like the way that this awful announcing article claims, like, is putting a comparison to it. Imagine if the New York Yankees didn't send their radio crew. Imagine if the LA Lakers didn't send their radio crew on the road. It's like, no.
Any NHL team, period. This is such a Bush League move, but for the Blue Jays, the Maple Leafs, and it's $200,000 for the season for them to travel with the team.
Yep,
that's a drop in the bucket when you're talking that kind of.
They'll make that back 10 times over.
And just in the ad revenue off the radio broadcasts alone.
Yes.
Just, God almighty. Just, you know what? Off the intermission sponsorships alone, they will make that back and then some. Are these the TV or the radio guys?
Radio.
Okay, yeah, they'll make that back. Oh, my God. It's a money-saving move is what he's saying, basically.
Basically, Lou Lamoriello is...
I know he's like 150 years old.
He's 150 and doesn't quite understand how things work today.
Apparently.
A writer for the Globe and Mail says that MLSE was the organization that was paying the both of these guys last season, but now this season, Rogers and Bell are jointly paying them.
So you're talking $100,000 each from those two companies,
right? And the way that they split the radio games during the season between the two Rogers and Bell owned radio stations, so they're not simulcast. Half the games are on 590 The Fan.
That's dumb.
And the other half are on TSN Radio 1050.
That's really dumb.
590 The Fan, by the way, is the better one. Just
Sportsnet 590 The Fan.
The Fan.
That's such a bad move for ratings because, I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. I was a program director for a long time. Radio listeners aren't bright.
Right. They want to know where to head, exactly where to go.
The ones that think it's on 590 all the time are going to wonder why it's not on that night and just give up. They're not going to go looking for it. They're just going to give up.
Well, here's the update. Common sense prevails.
Someone at MLSE told Lou to cut that crap out.
Yeah, they're going to be going on to road games, but the thing was that before, because essentially they are team employees, they were flying on the team charter, which almost all the broadcasters in the league do.
Yeah,
they fly on the same plane with the team because they're all team employees. But apparently the Leafs wanted to make it so it's only players, coaches, and executives. So now the two, Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph, will be flying with the proletariat on commercial airlines.
Okay, and again, I mean, another thing you can point out here is now they're relying on commercial airlines to get to these games.
Yep.
If you've got back-to-back night, there's a very good chance your announcers might not get there in time.
I have a feeling that was like something to make Lou happy. Like someone probably went into Lou's office.
Lou's an idiot.
Somebody probably went into Lou's office. It was like some suit at MLSE went into Lou's office. Like, okay, Lou, you can't do that. We can afford the $200,000.
Errod, no. The Toronto Maple Leafs need to save as much money as possible.
And then they're like,
what a fucking moron.
It's like, okay, Lou, what if they're not on the charter plane? We'll just send them like first class on commercial airlines. Like, I guess
first
that's
class.
Okay. First class.
And you know,
you're buying the meals too per diem.
And you know, you want your announcers to be homers a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, actually, a lot of bit. These guys they're not gonna take kindly to this.
Well, basically, what it sounds like is now the team is treating them like they're not team employees because they're not being paid by MLSE anymore. Mm-hmm. So if they're being paid by just Rogers and Bell, they're technically not Maple Leafs employees anymore.
I know, but it's still just so freaking Bush League. I mean, you know, the Fort Wayne Comets wouldn't do this.
Right.
I mean, they might be on the bus instead of the plane, but they're still on the bus with the team.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. God damn it. The problem is that Brendan Shanahan, who is his boss in MLSE, apparently worships Lou. He's like, no, he's still got it, guys. So, like, everyone – because Brendan Shanahan is the guy running everything involved in the hockey end of MLSE, ultimately everyone kind of has to go with his – go with him, his decisions. And he's not and when it comes to like the personnel decisions, when it comes to the hockey end of things, that's generally a good thing. But in terms of Lou Lamoriello, this is obviously going to be his blind spot where we all have to put up with Lou's crap because Brendan Shanahan doesn't have the balls to tell him no.
You guys were doing better when they had like a contest who got to run the team that week back before. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Zach's Tabs.
Zach's Tabs, back after 2-week break.
2-week break. So, Mike, you're familiar with Tottenham Hotspur?
Yes.
Well, you're also familiar with Wayne Gretzky?
I am.
The great one?
Never heard of either one of them.
God Emperor of Canada, I believe.
So, apparently Gretzky was over in England and wanted to check out a Tottenham Hotspur game, and so they decided to honor Gretzky with a jersey. With his name misspelled.
To be fair, in British English, Zs are often replaced with S's.
Right. However, Gretzky is different than Gretzky.
Yes.
Is it?
Slightly. Enough of a distinction to say, yes, you've got to have the Z, the Z and not the S.
It's a Canadian going over to the UK. It's a Z.
I said it's a Z.
It's the way the man's name is spelled.
Yes.
Right, that too. But yeah, there is a little bit of a difference between the Z and an S. Hardly noticeable, barely detectable, but still there.
By the way, went to Coors Field over the weekend. Not a bad place. Not a bad place to see a ball.
It's a pretty nice park.
Yeah, although the Pirates hit like a line drive that just didn't ever dip and went out of the park. He hit it in a straight line. I was like, oh, that'll fall. Oh, it's a home run.
Not in Colorado. Even with that humidor that they put the balls in now, they still get out of there pretty good.
Yeah.
Too bad you couldn't go back in the day when it was basically like watching batting practice at that place. I still think the greatest achievement in baseball history was when Hideo Nomo pitched a no-hitter in that park back in the day when they still had the, Yeah, that's just to me the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Okay, go ahead.
Do you guys know who the highest paid personality at ESPN is?
That would be
I guess
Chris Berman.
Incorrect.
Ditka.
Incorrect.
Scott
on the right track, though. Think football.
Football. Ray Lewis?
Nope. Closer, though, Greg. Think Monday nights.
John Gruden.
$6.5 million a year. John.
Wow. Not bad. Not bad at all.
I am legitimately surprised by that.
Yeah, right? You think it would be either one of their main personalities or main analyst or something.
But you got to think, though, that a guy like Berman and the guys that have been there a while, they've worked their way up. You have to go out and give Gruden a boatload of money to get him to, come to your network as opposed to CBS or NBC.
Just to get him to, or just pay him to do it.
Or not be a coach, right, exactly.
Yeah, but John Gruden, there's nothing particularly wrong, with his presentation in the booth, but he just doesn't strike me as sort of the face of a slot or of a network. So I'm just shocked. I'm just shocked that it's him.
I don't know. I mean, sometimes I think he's okay. Other times he annoys the hell out of me, which I suppose that's the case with all color guys.
After that second Monday night with Minnesota and San Francisco, John Gruden is a godsend compared to who they fought that game.
Oh my God, was that
the
horrible?
Big
banana.
Oh my God. But I will say, in Berman's defense, I was watching the Monday night pregame show before the Packers-Chiefs this week, and they did their Come On Man segment, and he did one of his whoops that just kind of cracked me up. So I'll give him that. But,
well, he's always been able to laugh at himself. I mean, he's never been a super serious guy about any of that.
I know that I don't care for his play-by-play either, but I don't dislike him as much as a lot of people do.
I like Chris Berman. I think he's definitely become a parody of himself in recent years, but if you go back 10 years ago, I think he's solid. I think the core of Chris Berman's career has been very good.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, what's next?
Well, I kind of offhandedly mentioned DraftKings before we started talking. But of course, those one-day fantasy things are just...
Well, hold on a second. I just want to throw one more thing in really quick, okay?
Yeah, sure.
This portion of Basically a Sports Show is brought to you by DraftKings. You can win $1 million. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, there's an ad nearly every commercial break And the thing is, like,
the only different thing between me and the other guys is I played and they didn't.
The leagues and the broadcast networks actually have like stock in these things.
Do they?
Yeah,
I did not know
illegal.
that.
That seems like it should be illegal.
At least unethical is all
ESPN
hell.
has a stake in DraftKings. I think the NFL does as well.
This all seems illegal. I don't know if it is, but it seems like it should be.
It's at least unethical,
essentially
right?
It is gambling.
It's absolutely gambling.
It is, but it isn't.
You pay money for the chance to take chances to win more money. That's gambling.
Right.
It's a new kind of gambling that the rest of the world and
Like,
the legal system hasn't decided is gambling yet,
Right.
even though we
But
all
it's
know
like,
it is.
If you pay money as an entry fee into your fantasy league, is that gambling?
Well, but this is the
Or is
thing,
that-
though, too. Mike brought up about
Is that
it.
an entry fee?
My understanding, too, is that both DraftKings and what's the other one called? FanDuel are both offshore. They do not operate out of the United States.
This I do not know.
Yes.
What are they? Cayman Islands? Please tell me it's the Cayman Islands.
Something like that. It's
Perfect.
somewhere out there like that. Yeah, like
Anyway.
the Bahamas or, you know.
So earlier this year, Fox
Turks and
Sports
Caicos,
also
whatever.
put a $300 million investment into DraftKings. And one of Fox obviously owns a lot of different properties, one of them being FX. And on FX, there is a fantasy football show, The League.
Right.
And in The League last week, they worked in a DraftKings ad, was in the show, not as part of the commercial break.
Like a product placement type deal.
They showed part of the ad in the show.
Yeah, that's like essentially a product placement.
So
yeah.
the episode just basically paused so they could show a DraftKings.
Right.
commercial.
It wasn't like, oh, I'm thirsty and them drinking a Coke. They were watching it and they talked about it for like a second or two.
It's like, hey, everyone, let's all stop talking so we can watch this. And then DraftKings commercial.
Speaking of which, basically the sports show is brought to you by DraftKings. You can win $1 million, but you got to play to pay or something like that. Go ahead.
By the way, DraftKings, if you do want to sponsor us, we'd love to have you.
Yeah,
We will take all of this back if you sponsor us.
absolutely. I have no qualms about it at all.
No, not
So,
one.
have you guys even looked at it, like looked into playing it or anything? I never
No.
have. I was curious. I don't
It's-
even know how it works. I mean, I know you
it's
got a
just-
salary cap you start with, right?
Yeah, you
Dude,
like
I'm on
putting
teacher's
your
salary. I can't
buy-in.
afford to just throw money away on fantasy football.
Yeah, it gives you a salary cap based on how much money you want to pay that week.
Ah, so that's the trick then. So, like, say if I show up with $20, probably not going to get. I could probably get Aaron Rodgers, but I'm not going to get anything else, right?
Well, I think it works too. They put it into different money brackets. Like if you pay $20, you're going to go into a league with another bunch of people that are paying $20.
right? Exactly.
Yeah, but then your payout for a $20 league is not going to be the same as the payout in like a $500.
So to win $1 million, you probably got to put in like 5,000 or something.
That I'm not sure. I haven't looked that far into it to know. This tab, by the way, was brought to you by Keystone Light.
And all of Basically a Sports Show was brought to you by DraftKings. Okay, are we done?
And Crystal Light, of course.
And Crystal Light. And, of course, and don't forget, folks, if you're hungry while listening to Basically a Sports Show, nothing satisfies your hunger more than a nice, fresh plate of Totino's Pizza Rolls.
Imagine if we could actually get sponsors.
We'd be great at it, right?
Oh, yeah, we'd be great at live reads.
Yeah.
Yeah. People love
Okay,
us.
are we done?
I believe that is it for this episode, Gregory.
All right, well, speaking of live reads, you know the routine. Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports, BA Football Show, A Geek Show, and I think that's everything. So anyway, you know the routine. You got all the platforms and all that. Stitcher, iTunes, Spreaker, the YouTubes. The website's Basically a Sports Show. And with that, we are finished. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
See ya.
Please hang up and try again.